Jeff, thanks for having us at Café Du Monde, coming on the QuadCast. This is quite a unique experience for us because we're normally in restaurants or pubs doing these, but it's fantastic to be up here in the heavens of your warehouse.
We'll get you set up with some coffee before you
go.
go.
I think everyone back at the office will be getting quite excited. I haven't told them yet, but just in case they get too high. And we've also just had a big thunderstorm, so we can hear ourselves think now without it bouncing off the roof. Where should we start? So you 25 years in coffee.
Yeah, started the career with Dow Egberts many moons ago. No interest at all in coffee myself at the point. I had an interview for Red Bull and an interview for Dow Egberts.
Right.
And I went with Dow Egberts, but all I knew of coffee at that point was instant coffee out of a jar in your nan's cupboard. But the minute I went in there for the interview, my old boss was a guy called Tony Smith, lovely guy apart from being a Spurs fan. He literally said, right, let's not sit down and chat, let's go and make a coffee, and threw me in front of a machine, and that was the first I'd seen of a traditional machine. And that was 25 years ago, so yeah, stuck with it.
And you must have seen some unbelievable changes in the coffee industry in 25 years.
Yeah.
From where it was to where it is now. I mean, it's...
Yeah, it changes, but then it still goes back down to always the stable. Everyone still wants the same thing, and it's not the C word of coffee, it's the C word consistency. You was worried where I was going then with that. But it's the C word consistency, and that's what we all want, right? We all want to go to the same place. We like repetition, don't we, as well? And we're creatures of habit, and coffee, the biggest part of it is training as well, and training the staff. As I say, because then if you go to a pub or a restaurant, I want to know that I'm being delivered the same cup of coffee no matter which member of staff's making it. Yeah. And therefore, it's all very well us selling the best coffee in the world, the most expensive coffee in the world, and the most expensive machine. But if it's not made correctly, then it's a downfall. So consistency is key, having the right products, the right equipment, but consistency is key with what we're selling and what we're providing.
Okay. And talking to Ben before about stuff he's doing with you, and obviously you, believe it or not, your kind of business model sounds quite similar to ours in a way, in that you provide sort of the whole package, if you like.
Yeah, we need to be a one-stop shop. My theory is always that if you're buying coffee from us, but you're buying tea from someone else, or potentially you're buying syrups from somewhere else, if there's an offer on from that guy or that brochure or that other supplier, chances are they're going to end up jumping ship at some point. So I think it's key, one, to sell as many products as you can to that client. Helps us as well, right? You know, it means the box is full, the van's fuller. Yeah. But you're becoming that full service provider to them. And service is the key word. As I said about the quality of the coffee and the quality of the machine, it's only good if it's working and correct, working, operating properly. If the machine's not working, you're not selling any coffee, I'm not making any money. So service is the biggest thing. I think it's a huge thing in the industry at the moment, is that my wife complains about it all the time, and I'm sure we all hear it every time, but you pick the phone up and you're still told, sorry, due to a huge number of calls, or due to COVID, or due to Brexit, answers aren't being picked up as quickly as they should be, right? Yeah. Here, we try and answer the phone really quickly. Yeah. We also try and get an engineer there as quickly as we can. Yeah. It's about that service. And we try and treat, I've said to Ben, treat your customers how you would expect to be treated, because that's all it is, right? We just want good service.
100%. Yeah. 100%. And I think, in our game as well, we find that exactly the same. That if you can just be on that different level, it doesn't actually matter in a way. Well, it does matter. Your product's got to be right. Yeah. But that can differentiate yourselves from the competition.
Yeah, correct. Can't it? What you just said is exactly right. I don't want to downplay that we've got the best products. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. We've got incredible coffees. AA standard Kenyan coffees, really good sustainable coffees, but it's just mud if we're not doing the right thing with it. Yeah. So therefore, having the right products, but then delivering the right service is the biggest thing.
Talk to us a bit about sustainability. Quite a big thing in coffee. Everyone talks about Green Alliance and these sort of things, but
yeah. So there's Rainforest Alliance, there's Fair Trade. Yeah. We're really lucky that we're owned by JJ Darboven, family-run business in Germany for many years. They roast around 40,000 tons of coffee across various European countries, and one of their latest projects is called Café Intention, which is actually a tree shade project. So every time you purchase a bag of coffee, they plant a tree on the coffee farm. So that helps with environmental changes in weather.
Right.
Because you're getting a shade tree to the coffee plantation.
Okay.
Helps with over rainfall because obviously the trees are soaking up the wet ground. And it's fair trade and it's an organic product. So it's an amazing thing to have. We're the only people to have it in the UK, and that's a massive part of our business. We supply a lot of garden centres and a lot of people that also have the same sustainability journey.
Yeah.
All of our cups, our takeaway cups, are sustainable, compostable. The lids are compostable. So it's really important to make sure you are tying all that in as the same message, that you've got that there as a product.
That isn't going to go away, is it?
No, I think if anything, that's going to grow and grow.
Yeah.
And the garden centres, that's a really nice thing to have a tree shade product.
Yeah.
You know, not only that is fair trade's an incredible thing, and it's done wonders for the business. But actually, where we're buying from, I could ring the roastery as well and say, you know, can I speak to the guy who roasts our coffee, who picks our coffee, and where his kids going to school? What's it doing impacting the farm in that local area in Guatemala, Honduras? And we've got that if we want it.
Really?
And that's a really important message, more than it is just a logo on a bag. Yeah, it's good.
That is true. Yeah. Anyone can do that, but to be able to actually say, I can phone up whoever it is.
They know where they're buying their coffee from, and that's really important, because then you're hands-on of, what's actually happening, right?
100%. That is absolutely brilliant. You touched on who you supply there. Mm-hmm. Garden centres, sort of high end. Yeah,
really, really. I mean, garden centres, it's really odd because in Europe and Ireland, garden centres aren't the same as they are in the UK. That they are this destination area.
Yeah.
Parking's a massive thing. What I have seen change in the last 10 years is town centres are becoming quieter.
Yeah.
People want to be able to park, walk in somewhere. Pushchairs can be getting out of the car really easily.
Yeah. There's
nice places to walk around, and it's not £5 to park the car. So garden centres with huge parking, great coffee, walk around. And I actually class coffee as being brown cocaine, right? It's grown in Honduras and Peru and everywhere. it's literally if you look at the plant, it looks like a weed plant. It is a drug. I know it is, because by 11 o'clock, if I haven't done one, I'm in trouble. Yeah, I'm getting migraines. So we all know it's a drug, not unlike sugar or anything else. And I know if I go to a garden centre or a flower shop or anywhere, and if my wife's looking at buying something, I'm looking, where's the coffee machine? Where can I get something to walk around with? People in the UK seem to only ever have a phone or a coffee in their hand these days if you see them in London. So it doesn't matter where you are, that accessibility of having a coffee. And these garden centres, Pole Hill Garden Centre, for instance, up the road at Seven Oaks, coach loads of people coming in for lunches with coffees. Then the bistro down the bottom that's doing speciality coffees with their pastries. It's become really hip and trendy, isn't it, to get the right loaf of bread with the Swiss knot bun and everything going on with the nice flat white. So that's a real garden centre doing really well. We need to grow that, though, a lot more, because I think we'll see that more and more, that town centres become less and less because you can't get your car there. Therefore, out of town areas are going to become busier and busier.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I mean, and I think as well in areas of affluence, I just when we've been talking to Ben on the podcast we did with him, we were saying and comparing sort of where our office is in the Chiltern Hills, very similar to around here, and we're seeing the same thing out of town, the town centres, unless it's perhaps an incredibly affluent place, maybe Tunbridge Wells will keep its shops or whatever, but I agree with you, out of town.
Yeah, agreed.
And we were talking as well about something we both enjoy, golf clubs.
We've done. I mean, obviously, I've had a keen interest in that since I said to you from the age of 12. It's quite nice now that I can tie in my work, which I've got a passion for coffee, and I've also got a passion for golf. But the nice thing is with that, you understand how a golf club operates. Yeah. And therefore, you know what their members are like, what their members believe, and what their expectations are. And there's two different types of golf clubs. There's a golf club that is run very, very successfully as a business, and then there is a members golf club. Yeah. And the members obviously own that club primarily because they pay a lot for the membership. So London Golf Club we supply, Prince's we talk about. Now, they're huge businesses. Prince's is owned by a housing building company. So they're very good at what they do. But we're very good at what we do within that golf club. So we have the right machine for the conference and banqueting, the guys turning up in their hundreds to play golf and have a corporate day, but then also having the right machine on the bar so the guys can deliver. The expectation of your everyman now is that you can stop at a petrol station and get a great coffee. I need that at my golf club as well. Yeah. It's an area we do really well with, and we've got some really nice name drops that we can throw into a conversation when we're seeing someone. Royal St George's, Prince's, Chart Hills, London Golf Club, Fox Hills we're supplying down in Surrey. My God, machine, absolute machine. They have hotel, golf club cafe area, paddle, spa, gym, creche. So it's a machine.
And coffee on the go all the time.
They're doing volumes of coffee that we've not ever seen before. They're incredible, across a massive amount of equipment as well. And it's a great setup because parents can drop their kids off in the creche. They can use the spa. They can go and play golf. They can come and pick their kid up. They can all play paddle together on 10 of the courts they've got there. Stay in the hotel. It's just an amazing setup. And that's, again, to comment on the other industry and what I've seen change. We've seen the pub industry change. That the guy in the corner sat drinking a mild is not going to keep the pub alive.
No.
And in the same way, a golf club is not going to keep the members sat there drinking a pint of Gunners at £2 a pint. They need someone in as a destination that's a little hotel. It's having good food. It's got good coffee. It gets people staying there and spending the money, because the green fee is not the money. It's the bar money and the restaurant money and the coffee money. And we're paying £5 a coffee these days. So
yeah, that's well, very true. You know,
that's not what I sell it to them at, but no. I know they sell it at £5 a coffee.
Yeah. It's funny you say that, because I played at very much a members course yesterday, and at the end of the sort of the classic 2-course meal, out came the coffee and this old sort of percolator, you know, and I think it was cream with it as well.
It is amazing though how many places still are.
Yeah,
I mean, shouldn't name drop, but North Foreland, down right on the coast of Ramsgate, Broadstairs area. Yeah, literally, they are still, you know, the old American diner coffee, filter coffee. Literally, pour and serve glass bowl.
Would you like one? No, I'm all right, thanks. I'm fine.
It's funny you say that though. So in Europe, they drink a lot of cafetiere coffee, a lot of still French press, old school coffee, and we all think we're doing this lovely artisanal show off coffee. But if I made you a coffee, you've just had an Americano, but if I made you a coffee with a cafetiere, it's actually the best way to drink black coffee. It's really good. Think about a farm out in the depths of Honduras. They haven't got a $5 traditional machine. They've got a little bit of muslin cloth, and they're pouring the coffee over and tasting it. And that's the essence of drinking coffee in its rawest format, right? So French press coffee, I'm still a huge believer of it.
I don't need a guy in Shoreditch with a huge beard.
Interestingly, if you speak, I've been chatting to a lot of hotels in London lately, and it's not that they're not doing this and they don't want to do that, but it is that they're moving away from the need of so much flat cap baristery coffee, cool coffee, to more American customers, Middle Eastern customers. They want a really good Americano, and we're serving really good hotel, St Albans in Sopwell House in St Albans. We've actually done a Sumatran single origin for them. Grinds straight into a cafetiere portioned amount, hot water on top. So for breakfast service, you're getting a single origin coffee, but just a pure Americano. And it's a nicer way to drink that coffee rather than worrying about a barista making it right.
I should just say, for Alex is in the background and doing the sound and everything. He's getting very excited because he used to work in coffee and the sound. he's
nice to hear.
Yeah. But the difference is as well. So to jump, it doesn't matter whether it's hotels, golf clubs or garden centres, any of our customers. The difference is in the UK, we are not born and bred to think coffee comes out of a machine like this. So a huge aspect of our business is obviously training. But hotel consistency as well. Staff turnover is a huge thing. We could train 5 staff 1 month, the next month you go back and those 5 staff have gone.
That is exactly the same in our game.
Yeah, exactly right. So therefore... to get a consistent cafetiere coffee out and know on the menu, like our teas that we supply, we do a lot of hotels that do loose leaf tea, and they'll have a tea menu, 5 options with a timer, brought to the table, looks beautiful. Let's do that with our coffees, right? Let's have a Kenyan, a Sumatran, and a Guatemalan. There's your coffee menu as a beautiful French press cafetiere. Which one would you like, sir or madam? I think that's a lovely way in a hotel. Different. Yeah. Don't worry about your flat whites and your stuff like that. Yeah. Just have a nice coffee to start the day with.
When you were talking there, Jeff, I was actually thinking about my grandfather, who did used to sit in the corner of a pub.
I don't know that old, do I?
No, I didn't mean it that way. I didn't mean it that way. I was just thinking, he just wouldn't believe that somebody would be talking, 2 generations on,
coffee.
The way we're talking now about coffee.
I had that conversation with my dad. Dad's 75. He ran a transport business for 55 years. And you guys are not from Kent, are you?
No.
But Kent, so I don't know if you know much what's going on with wine in Kent.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, yeah. So imagine me leaving school however many years ago and saying to my dad, I'm going to buy a couple of fields, I'm going to start growing some vines.
Yeah.
He'd have smashed me in the head and told me to go and get a proper job, son.
What are you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing, son? And now I'm hoping in 10 years we're going to be growing coffee in Kent, because Champagne region has moved to Kent.
Yeah.
Tattinger have just bought, just up the road from me where I bike ride and I get to walk my dog, there's Tattinger up the road. And that they're growing champagne, can't call it champagne, because Champagne region, because of global warming, the ground's not good enough now to grow wine in it. And it's moved to Kent. Well, you know, who knows? As you said about your father, we're having conversations about coffee in that much depth. Yeah.
My dad used to have a microbrewery.
Yeah.
And of course, he used to get so excited about Kent because of the hops and everything.
That's right.
And now the hops are being replaced with
vines.
vines.
Yeah. Generally, dairy farms are getting taken over and putting vines in them, and they're paying fortunes for it. And all the European people are coming over on wine tours to Kent. It's crazy. So I'm hoping 10 years we'll have coffee growing in Kent.
Could you technically grow coffee though?
Well, look how alive that plant is.
Yeah, he could be. Yeah.
I mean, we're in a bit of a greenhouse environment in here.
Yeah.
But if the environment keeps changing the way it is, you would have never thought wine would be here, right?
No.
And now look at it. So who knows? 10, 20 years, you never know.
Right,
probably not a good thing if we're all sat in 40 degrees temperature, right? But,
no, probably not.
It rains and it's hot, so
it's not the best.
no.
Just come out of it.
Yeah.
That is, yeah.
But you're right. The conversations we're having now, and again, to bring Dad into the mix, he doesn't drink himself, but he goes for a drink regularly with his mates. Luckily, twice a week, golf 5 times a week, and they're all moaning about £7.20 a pint. And
nice.
I said, boys, Starbucks is £5.20 a flat white, and it's far more labour intensive than pulling that pint at £7.20. So a bottle of wine these days for 6 people to share actually looks more beneficial than a pint or a coffee these days. You know,
there is that. Yeah. The pub I drink is a guy who goes in there and he buys a bottle of wine. Yeah. And then they put his name on it, and he has his 2 glasses, and then he goes, and then the next night he's got his other 2 glasses.
Yeah, nice.
Because it's 20 quid for the bottle of wine, and 5 for a glass.
Yeah. But price, you asked me earlier about how you've seen the industry change. Price is a huge thing, right?
Is it?
And the price of coffee just in this last 12 months. So coffee, I don't know if you will know because you've been in the industry, but it's the second most traded commodity behind fuel. So if you can imagine that, here comes the rain. Here comes the coffee rain. If you can imagine, you watch the fuel price at the pumps, right? Yeah. Same with coffee, and it is jumping daily, and people are buying coffee 2 months prior. So if you can imagine, when I'm buying my coffee from our suppliers, and we're 2 months ago pricing, and I'm watching it grow by hundreds and hundreds of cents at a time, suddenly we're in a position where we know that price is going to go up. The crazy thing is, the price per cup is minimal to the supplier of that drink at the far end.
Yeah.
But what they can then sell that product at is obviously, it's an astronomical amount of money.
Yeah, so price at the minute, Jeff, where's the price of coffee at the minute?
So, it won't mean anything to you if I tell you it's at $400. That won't mean anything. However, it just means that it's doubled in the last 12 months. At my end of buying the coffee, and my supplier's end of buying the coffee. It's a really interesting conversation that everyone talks about the price of coffee. No one talks about the price of milk. And in the UK, we drink more milk than any other person in the world, it seems. We drink astronomical amounts of milk, which, again, to talk about the industry change, never in your wildest imagination could you imagine talking to your father and he's talking about going to get his paper and his loaf of bread and his free coffee from Waitrose. But everyone's drinking these gallons and gallons of milk. So when we talked about training earlier, that's a huge part of my guys' training and my training is that the wastage of milk. Because when I talk about coffee pricing to you, if you were a customer and I might say your box of coffee of 6 kilos has gone up by a tenner. Yeah. I'm talking about 2p per cup maximum. Now, the price of coffee within that or the price of the hotel room, or the price of the green fee, or the price of the garden centre has gone up probably 2-3 quid at a time over the last year. Yeah. But to add 2p to your price of coffee is not much. No. And especially not when you see that the staff, when they're foaming milk and making drinks, they're wasting 20-30p's worth of milk on 2 drinks. And that's not talked about. So we try and, again, be different, train different, get them making milk properly, using the right amount of milk, foaming the right amount of milk, and not wasting too much milk. And I always try and encourage customers, if this was my cafe and it was my pence and pound, I'd have a thermos jug and I'd pour the waste milk into the thermos jug, let it go cold and use it as Americano milk. Because you're just then throwing nothing away. and then you can have the row with me about 2p per cup. But
Yeah.
every time you're wasting 20, 30p of milk, it's false economy, isn't it?
I've
Worrying about
never
the 2p
thought
of
of
coffee.
that.
No.
I've never thought of milk of being...
It's white gold. It's the most expensive thing, and that has gone up. You think what you're paying at home for milk now, and no one questions it. In the coffee industry, we don't talk about this price of milk. It's always the push on the coffee price and where's the coffee price out and what's it doing, because it's the second most traded commodity. But most of the UK-based drinks now are flat whites, cappuccinos, lattes, and it's 2/3 of the whole cup.
It's a milk.
Yeah.
And the milk price has gone. Well, I can tell you, I bought a pint of milk. The pint of milk that's in my fridge. God knows why. I just fancied a nice glass of milk, and it was £1.85 in Waitrose.
Yeah.
And I actually went, that's £1.85.
Yeah.
You know, but if you've got that in a coffee every time, compared to your 2p increase,
that's right.
if the price of milk's gone up by 10p, a pint.
Yeah.
And
it's almost like we've got this. Well, again, talking about industry changes, right? We used to buy things with cash. No one does anymore, right?
No.
It's fake money, isn't it?
Yeah,
You're not even spending it.
Yeah.
You don't even think about it. But once you've bought this milk and it's on the side and it's been foamed in a milk jug, I don't think it's even quantified that, well, how much am I actually throwing away?
Yeah.
Ben's a very good example, actually, I had a conversation with him maybe 10 years ago, telling him how much coffee he was buying from me when he owned the pub.
Yeah.
We don't sell anywhere near that much through the till. And I said, how many guys you got in the kitchen? 6? And how many other members of staff? 4? That's where the coffee's going, mate. And it's your staff. So maybe he'd fight me on my 2p per cup, but 20 cups of coffee are being drunk a day with the staff, you know?
Yeah.
So it's getting your brain to think about where things are going, how it's being used, rather than
So
the
we needed
price.
to go and get some tea bags.
Just get him a tin of spoon, yeah, exactly. A box of Nescafe, yeah, exactly.
That's amazing. Yeah, again, don't think about it.
No, but it's your job, my job. I don't think about things you do, and you don't think about things that in depth. But we have to, right? Because the complaint is going to come from the price of things, and the price jumping up. But when you hear Starbucks are charging £5.20 for a flat white, and I know people can be buying coffee from us for, 16 pence.
Yeah.
Yes, we know staffing costs, electricity costs, rents, they're all going up. But, we're not short of coffee shops on the high street, are we?
No.
So they're making money.
So if anything, they're increasing, aren't they?
Yeah, everywhere you go. I genuinely believe people walking down the high street out of boredom, we're either on our phones or we've got a coffee in our hands. And it's become cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
To have the right flat white, Instagram the right flat white, take a picture of it, look at me with my latte art.
Well, it's even on the plane now. Yesterday on the plane.
Yeah, grind.
Easy.
British Airways.
No, EasyJet.
Oh, really?
Costa.
So EasyJet have got Costa. Yeah.
And they're selling Costa now. It used to be
So
the Hallmats. What's the H one? Used to do the coffee and a tea bag.
Not Hutamaki or anything like that with the machine, no? But I know I was on BA the other day and they've got Grind, who started off by just making espresso capsules, and now they're doing a British Airways flat white in the cup, ready to go, I don't know what the cost was, but, it's almost as if we cannot go anywhere without being on our phone, taking a photo, doing something, or having a coffee in our hand, or, something. My wife doesn't drink the bloody stuff, which I'm quite pleased with because it cost me a fortune. But, but I'm the same at the weekend. I have a flat white when I get to work in the morning, and then I drink black for the rest of the day. But I will not waste stomach space on milk going to the wrong coffee shop at the weekend. I'll only go to where I know. And everyone says that. Where's your favourite place? You probably would have thought, well, it's a good question. Where's your favourite place?
Where is your
no such thing. Favourite guy making it.
Really?
Because 25% is the coffee, 25% is the machine, 50% is the person making it. So there's no point asking me where my favourite shop is. It's where's the favourite barista.
And is that what you're paying for? The skill of the
100%,
barista?
yeah. Imagine me getting in Lewis Hamilton's race car and I'd just be spinning around in circles, right? And if I asked you to jump on there and make a coffee,
But you used to have that. You said that about the pint a mile, but you used to have that with the publican because the publican used to look after the beer.
Yeah.
And that was a skill.
Yeah.
Now it's all pressurised keg. You go.
Same as this though. So this machine here you're looking at has got an auto steam wand on it. Starbucks have done that since Starbucks opened. That stops and starts and foams on its. All they've got to do is pour the milk out.
Right. They
haven't got to perfect that art of how to foam it. It does it for them.
So in a Starbucks, you're not getting that level of.
Yeah, but then let's not badmouth the big boys or the competitors. But even Costa professed that everything's barista made, but petrol stations are all bean to cut push button machines, right? But it's still a good coffee.
Yeah.
Most people, if you ask them where their favourite coffee is, they'll say Costa, McDonald's, Greg's, and it's purely because they're doing 1,000 coffees a day. They're drinking fresh coffee. and it's consistent. I come back to that word every time. It's the same. McDonald's, why have they done so well? Because everything's the same flavour in every restaurant across the world, right?
Yeah.
So they've got to do that with their
Back to
coffee.
that cafetiere thing.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
consistent.
Consistent's key.
Your barista might be in a bad day that day.
Yeah, bad mood, bad day.
Yeah.
Even 25 years. Jack's incredible. He's not here, unfortunately, this afternoon, but I will, if I'm in and Jack's in, he's making me my flat white because I know it's the nuts. But he'll have a bad day. Or the milk might be just towards its sell-by date and it doesn't foam as well. And it doesn't, like a beer keg isn't coming out of the machine or a bottle of wine's been sat there too long.
Yeah.
So there's loads of peaks and troughs of why things might not be quite right.
So what's going to happen next then, in your view? Where's coffee going? We've seen the rise.
So it's interesting that obviously we were a nation of tea drinkers, right?
Yeah.
So we've seen it go crazy, and we've seen it go crazy in terms of the milk-based drinks and the cool arty-farty coffee, let's say. I am now seeing that trend of this better cafetiere Americano kick in. I think that's going to become apparent. I think people are going to ask for this really good. We're seeing it in cafes where they're doing a drip fed or a filter coffee, and it's becoming quite a cool thing.
Yeah.
But we're all interested in where this coffee's from. Is it single origin? Who's grown it? How's it's affected this? A lot of trends are fed from America as well, and that's happening. So I think coffee's going to continue to grow. I would be really interested to know if anyone thinks they can grow coffee in the UK. I think it will sneak further into Europe, potentially. There's no reason why not if we start getting hotter. But I don't see a fall in cafes. If anything now, obviously we've got a lot of European staff, a lot of international people working in the UK as well. They are, as I said, it's almost inbred that they know about coffee and they know about the machinery, so they train and understand it. Coffee's just going to go strength from strength, being made better. It's becoming very cool. It's a cool thing to do almost as a habit rather than a luxury, right?
Well, maybe what will happen is that around Epinay they'll rip all the vines up, bring them to Kent, and the coffee will end up there.
Maybe.
But,
Yeah.
Because I suppose you need the right. It's got to be the right style of environment, hasn't it, to grow coffee? In terms of it's got to be fairly moist, I'd imagine. If that's the word.
Yeah. You think about the countries it's grown in, but then Kenya's doing really well. Obviously, some of the coffees coming out of Kenya are incredible. Yeah. 40% of all coffee comes from Brazil. Yeah. So you're asking a lot of the British climate, but we would, as I say, we wouldn't have said that about wine many years ago, would we? So, or the quality of wine. But
that's very true.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring our conversation to a close in a minute. It's been great talking to you. We've finished with 3 questions.
Nice.
One's we're obviously in the restaurant industry.
Yeah.
So if there's one restaurant or hotel you could go to again, where would it be and why?
Oh, good question. I've got a regular, so we go to the Pig at Canterbury regularly, which is very good. Love that place. But if I could ever go to a restaurant, I'll tell you, memories and quality of food. Rocker, Japanese restaurant in Mayfair, incredible place. And we sat next to a couple of nice people when we've been in there a few times. My wife and I have done the tasting menu every time we've been there. We've always been very drunk by the end of it, too much sake, but food quality, unbelievable. Love it. Yeah, nice place.
Right. And if you could have one bit of technology that could help your business, what would it be and why?
Yeah, there's a lot of things I could replace with a bit of technology. I couldn't live without my phone. Yeah, there's no way. I mean, it's mini laptop now, isn't it? Everyone moans about the price of iPhones, but actually, if you think about what you do on a phone now these days, for me, it's absolutely irreplaceable in terms of that. And yeah, I don't think I could live without the phone. But if there was another bit of technology, I don't know. Nothing. I don't want anything to replace what we do because we do everything quite traditionally and quite family orientated. Yeah. I think tech's quite scary. I think you're never going to replace. I don't want to replace humans with too much tech.
And we've just had this conversation, well, when we were talking with Ben, we had the same thing about AI replacing the maitre d' in the restaurant. And that, you can have all the data in the world. That will come. But are you ever going to get that actual human interaction from it?
So I'm the world's worst example, I suppose, of someone. If I walk in somewhere, restaurant, car showroom, it could be a petrol station or a local shop. If I'm treated and then maybe remembered the next time I go there, I'm going there for life. And no robot can replace that. So actually, if you guys walked in here one day accidentally to buy some coffee and you're met by Tom, for instance, who's in the warehouse, who's best guy in the world, and he treats you really lovely, sets you up, right?
Yeah.
You're going to remember this place.
100%.
No robot can replace that.
Yeah.
And that for me is key. I'll go back to restaurants, bars, coffee shops, buy a car just because the guy's a nice guy and he remembered who I was and treats me nicely, right?
It's a good lesson.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about golf. So we'll finish on golf. Give us one course you played that you'd want to play again, and one that you haven't that you want to play. It's on the list.
So, the course I would always choose to play is what we talked about earlier, is Finca Courtesan down near Malaga. I went there on my stag do after playing there a couple of times before, and I looked over at a mate of mine who's a greenkeeper, and we almost cried a little bit because it felt like a computer game.
Wow!
I stood there with a 3-iron trying to hit 200 yards over water. Subsequently ended up in the water, but it genuinely felt like a computer game.
Yeah.
Like, it was amazing, and I've had the luxury of knowing some really nice guys down in that part of the world. You know what it's like. Played with some ex-football players on that course, and for me, it's just the best place in the world. Love it.
Yeah, and one that's on the list.
One that, weirdly, it's local, and it's Deal, so it's Cinque Ports, which is in between Prince's and Royal St George's.
Yeah.
And it's the one place, as a kid, I grew up luckily playing a lot of Kent Schools golf and a lot of East Kent League golf. Never touched the place. And actually, as far as links golf goes, if you speak to anyone, they'll all say that's the one. And I've not played there, so I need to get that in the diary. Need to get a favour on the go with the guy who runs Deal Pier Kitchen, because he's got the restaurant at the end of the pier.
Okay.
Very successful restaurant, and I think he's a member there, so I need to tap him up.
Well, if you ever need a system for running this restaurant, then let us know.
Yeah, he's a good guy. I'll introduce you to him. Yeah.
Jeff, thanks a lot, mate. Thanks
Cheers,
for talking
guys.
to us. And great. Cheers. Thank you very much.